The Russian moonlander Luna-25 crashed into the moon on August 19, 2023, and there is no communication with the spacecraft anymore. Luna translates from Russian as the moon. The Russian spacecraft Luna-25, or the Moon-25, was intended to soft land on the moon on August 21, 2023, but it crashed instead. The crash happened after the orbital maneuver went not as intended. Luna-25 was supposed to make a southern orbital pre-landing maneuver so that to approach the area close to the moon's south pole for soft landing. However, this orbital maneuver went wrong. The spacecraft went into an uncontrolled descent and finally crashed on the moon due to the moon's gravitation. The Luna-25 spacecraft weighed 700 kilograms or 1,543 pounds without fuel and 1,800 kilograms or 3,968 pounds when fully fueled on the Earth, which means its weight on the moon would be 132 kilograms or 291 pounds without fuel and 298 kilograms or 657 pounds when fully fueled. On the moon, objects weigh 16.5% of what they weigh on the Earth. It took Russians about 18 years to build the Luna-25 spaceship and to launch the probe. But let's take a look at the timeline of the events that preceded the crash of Luna-25. On April 12, 2022, the Russian President Vladimir Putin, along with the Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, visited the Vostochny Cosmodrome, translates the East Spaceport, where the Luna-25 probe would launch. Speaking at the meeting with Alexander Lukashenko, Vladimir Putin recalled Soviet successes in space and emphasized that no sanctions on Russia would halt its progress in space. By the way, Vladimir Putin also said then that Luna-25 would launch to the moon in the third quarter of 2022, which of course it didn't.
И нашу программу, лунную программу будем осуществлять. Ну, вот вы знаете, да, на третий квартал у нас станция Луна-25 должна быть реализована, да? В третьем квартале успеем? Должны.
On August 10, 2023, the Soyuz 2.1B rocket blasted off from Vostochny Cosmodrome, or the eastern spaceport that is located in the so-called Far East region of Russia. The Soyuz rocket was carrying the Luna-25 lander. The Luna-25 entered the orbit around the Earth. Then it left the orbit around the Earth and headed to the Moon. On August 16, 2023, Luna-25 entered the orbit around the Moon. On August 18, 2023, Luna-25 adjusted its lunar orbit as it prepared to attempt the mooning or landing on the Moon. The propulsion system of the automatic station performed an orbit correction lasting 40 seconds. Its goal was to provide the best conditions for the subsequent configuration of the pre-landing orbit. This orbit adjustment went smoothly. The orbit had been adjusted as planned. Then Luna-25 was to leave the lunar orbit and to approach the Moon for landing or mooning. Luna-25 was scheduled to soft land on the Moon on August 21, 2023. But something unexpected started to happen. On August 19, 2023, the Russian Space Agency declared what they called an abnormal situation that arose when Luna-25 was attempting to leave the lunar orbit and to switch to the pre-landing orbit. Allegedly, the maneuvering engine could not be shut down on time and it ran longer than needed. Subsequently, the probe failed to enter the pre-landing elliptical orbit needed for soft landing or mooning. This pre-landing orbit was a low one, like 18 kilometers from the Moon's surface, in its lowest point. From this lowest orbital point, The probe was supposed to start dropping to the lunar surface, and then the drop was to slow down by using the propulsion system, and finally Luna-25 was supposed to soft moon. Of course, you can't parachute to the moon, because the atmosphere there is not thick enough. You can't glide down to the moon on wings, as airplanes do on the Earth, for the same reason, which is no substantial atmosphere above the moon's surface.
Denied.
To soft moon, you need to use a propulsion system to support the craft and to keep it above the ground. But Luna-25 didn't even have a chance to use its descent engines. Luna-25 went into the trajectory that intersected the moon's surface and finally crashed into it. This happened due to the miscorrection of the lunar orbit. The engine that was correcting the orbit was running too long. It lowered Luna-25's speed way too much. With this low speed, the spacecraft was not able to stay in the orbit anymore, and it dropped to the moon due to the moon's gravitation. Basically, the crash occurred because of the misuse of the corrective engine. That corrective engine was engaged for 127 seconds instead of 84 seconds needed to slow down Luna-25. The corrective engine was engaged 43 seconds longer than needed. That is 51% longer than the time needed to set Luna-25 to the free-landing orbit. The engine was slowing down Luna-25 1.5 times longer than needed. The engine slowed down Luna-25 too much. Luna-25 became too slow. It went off the orbit and it dropped on the moon. After Luna-25 lost the orbit and went into an uncontrolled descent to the moon, colliding with the moon's surface became only a question of time. The time frame was very short, and there was no way to recover Luna-25 from the drop. The communication with Luna-25 was lost at 14:57 Moscow time, August 19, 2023. The Russian Space Agency was unsuccessfully attempting to re-establish the contact with the spacecraft on August 19th and 20th, 2023. On August 20th, 2023, the Russian Space Agency declared that Luna-25 crashed into the moon's surface due to a failed orbital maneuver. In fact, the Russian probe Luna-25 is on the moon now, but not exactly the way it was intended. It went there too fast, and it did not get to its destination in one piece, but rather in many pieces. Here is the map of the moon near the moon's south pole. Luna-25 was planned to soft land, or rather to soft moon, if you will, in this landing zone, but it never did. Yes, it mooned, but it was not exactly a soft moon. Luna-25 crashed, supposedly got destroyed, and doesn't exist anymore as it was. The Luna-25's crash remains may be discovered on the moon's surface sometime in the future.